Good morning, how are you? I hope you're great. Today I will present you about something very interesting. The topic that matters today is an important part of our culture. If you are Sonoran, you probably have seen Fariseos. I was always amused by their masks and the way they dance, and how it's something really connect with our Sonoran roots. In my school, we always have learned about traditions of all parts of Mexico, but we'll never forget about our traditions, our Sonoran traditions. We need to embrace our culture, so this is something that we need to talk about. I have always been interested in this, so I'm glad to be able to have time to do it. I'm about to introduce you to the marvelous history that is the Pharisees and its context. How I mentioned earlier, here on Sonora it's normal to see Fariseos. If you never have seen one, a short summary, it could be a person with typically clothes of Sonora, but with bigger chance being that they wear mask. Because of COVID? Not really, because this is an old tradition, that I will explain the origin and the meaning. But you usually see them dancing, and asking for money to be able to afford continuing the tradition. This during 40 days neither taking off their mask nor talking with others. But why does this happen? Well, unless you live under a rock, you should be able to recognize the invasion by Spain to indigenous people. That was a cultural shock. Some things were destroyed of the indigenous religions and cultures, but the invasion was different from the north and the south of Mexico. Here something strong was the evangelization, but with less skills compared with the south. I don't mean that that doesn't happen here, cause yes, the racism and several hate crimes against indigenous people is something that we cannot say that it doesn't happen. But the religion, although not being intact, we could say that was fused with the Catholic religion. So, in the Catholic canon, the Passion of Christ, Easter, and Lent are important events that commemorate the death of Jesus Christ and its resurrection. But Yaquis prepare themselves by the rituals that I described earlier. The mask represents the evil and the mad mood, wearing it for 40 days, as long that Lent lasts, and then burning these masks with usually demon representation to end with the scene. But we also add some of the other traditions, like at the end of this ritual, dance the dance of the deer, to bless the earth. This is why I think that this is a fuse of two different cultures. Well, just a little parenthesis. There is nothing such as indigenous culture because there are a lot of different cultures that have nothing to do one to other. Like Yaquis and Mayas have almost nothing to do, but yeah, you know what I mean. And that is something that I like a lot because there is a lot to research. There is a lot of culture, and that made me happy because we could know more and more. However, I think that this is a good analogy to describe Mexico, the fuse of two or more cultures. And something that I think that is very important is the importance of cultural research, because we could know more about our culture, our history, and ourselves. Know the impact that the Spanish invasion has and how their culture and the indigenous culture create the Mexican culture. This is something that we need to embrace and never forget. This is our heritage. Well, this was my monograph. I was able to do this because of my research. That is very important. Now I will tell you my techniques and methodology. Because if you wanna do something similar, you can do it. And it's very easy. Now I will explain why. If you want to do social study, something important you should do is investigate the origin, space and time, objectives, etc. The things that I say before. Also, it is important to be cautious with the way you get information. Nowadays, we have an oversaturation of information, so it's important to have a technique or methods to research. My techniques that today I will be using are the documents. These techniques, in a few words, consist of using official text, personal text, or even newspaper. This helps us to gain information about the group that we're studying. Some documents that are more personal, such as personal texts, can be used to see a more personal posture of this event. If you were putting attention, you may think that I was using a quantitative method, and yes, that's true. And something that I would like to add is that in the description and in the Word document that I will attach, that there are my reference. Very important if you want to do an investigation and give credits. That's the most important. So thank you for listening. That will be all for today. Thank you. Bye.